Hello everyone, my name is Kenneth Luce and I am the Senior Product Expert here with Infiniti Stewart in Stewart, Florida. I wanted to talk to all of you today about the Q60 Coupe, specifically the 2017 model. There are unfortunately a few inaccurate statements that are running around out in the universe of the internet, and I wanted to go over some of those options and features with you, and also dive a little bit into the car as well. So I'm going to be talking about that. I'm going to be talking about what's new for the Q60, the competitors and the pricing comparison, how it breaks down, and a lot of good, wholesome stuff about the Q60 in particular. So that's what we're going to be working on today. Okay, so in June of 2007, Infiniti introduced the 2008 model year G37 Coupe. That was the replacement for the old G35 Coupe. That vehicle carried on until 2013 when it became the 2014 Infiniti Q60, which is when Infiniti began its rebranding and renaming of all of our vehicles, where all of our sedans and coupes became Qs and all of our respective SUVs became QXs. So as I said, in 2016 we introduced the brand new 2017 model year Q60. This is where we have completely gotten rid of the naturally aspirated VQ series of engines, which was the 3.7 liter V6 with 330 horsepower in the coupe and 270 pound-feet of torque also in the coupe. Convertible was a little bit different, but same size engine. So if you come in closer here with me, today more specifically, we're going to be talking about the Red Sport Q60. The Red Sport Q60 comes ready to go with the 3-liter twin turbocharged V6 with 400 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. All of that equates to a 0 to 60 time of 4.5 seconds, which is pretty quick for what it is. It is also equipped with a 7-speed automatic single clutch transmission. It does also come with paddle shifters as well, so you can drive it like a manual. More specifically, this is actually what's called our VR series of engines, which you will find is what's carried in the Nissan GTR, which Nissan is still currently making. You also have two other engine variations. One is same size engine, still 3-liter twin turbo V6, except that engine produces 300 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. And then we also have introduced for the first time in the Q60 the 2-liter single turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, which produces 208 horsepower. So you've got a lot of different engine options for the Q60 depending upon if you're trying to achieve better gas mileage or if you're trying to achieve a certain power output. So up at the front here of the Q60, I'm going to go over some of what's standard. So on the Q60, it comes standard with LED daytime running lights, which is what's wrapping around the LED headlight here. But you actually have LEDs everywhere in this car. So you have, as I said, LED daytime running lights, LED headlights, LED fog lights, LED turn signal indicators in your side view mirrors, LED tail lights, LED brake lights in the back, and also LED turn signal indicators in the rear as well. This Q60 here, as I said, this is the Red Sport 400. This one in particular has every option and every feature in it. So the Q60 comes equipped as what's standard with what's called just the Q60 Premium. After that comes the Q60 with the Premium Plus package, then the Q60 with the Driver Assistance package, and then the Q60 with what's called the Technology package. There is no what's called a Deluxe Touring package, as what's been floating around out there. That package does not even exist on this vehicle in particular. So with this having the Technology package, you have your adaptive front headlights. So when you turn the steering wheel, both of the headlights will swivel in the direction that the wheel has been turned, and they will swivel up to 5.4 degrees depending upon the direction of the turn that you're taking. As also part of the Driver Assistance package is what's part of our, or comes equipped with our around view monitor system, which is not a part of the Technology package, as you may have read or may have seen somewhere. As I said, that is part of the Driver Assistance package. So with the around view monitor system, that gives you a camera right up here, one underneath the passenger side view mirror, one underneath the driver's side view mirror, and a backup camera. But the backup camera is standard on the Q60. It's also standard in all of our vehicles. This also has your intelligent cruise control. Your radar is actually situated directly behind the Infinity emblem up front here, so there's nothing disrupting the flow and disrupting the look of the vehicle. So as I said, this is where your radar is situated. So if you want to come with me. Okay, so now that we're at the side of the Q60 here, you can kind of get a better idea of the way the vehicle looks. Now, what Infinity did with the Q60 is they gave it what's called an in-motion design. That in-motion design translates to a look that is specific to the Q60 in particular, to where it is designed to look like it's moving when it is not, which is why we call that an in-motion design. We also created what's called a stamping process with the Q60, which we also are also currently doing on some of our other vehicles. So the lines for the Q60 actually start up front here, and they continue along the entire back of the vehicle. Let me try and get it out of the way here so you can see a little bit better. So what we did was we took every single individual body panel and we put it into a machine, and we stamped them into place, where we stamped that shape into each panel. Now, what is also specific to the Red Sport Q60 are these 19-inch rims. Now, you also have your significantly larger brakes on the Red Sport 400 as well. These are 4-piston front caliper brakes and 2-piston rear caliper brakes. These are also run flat tires, so you can, as the name gives away, you can drive on these tires if you get a flat. Now, if you also take a look here, you have these side panels here. These actually do work. These are designed to ventilate heat from inside the engine, and also ventilate heat from the brakes as well. You also take a look here, these are carbon fiber in addition to the side view mirrors here. You also do have a carbon fiber deck lid spoiler, which we'll get to in a minute here. But this Red Sport 400 in particular has what's called the carbon fiber exterior accent package. So, and these side vents here are on both sides of the car. So if you okay, so now that we're at the back of the Q60, as I mentioned a couple minutes ago, this Q60 here does have that carbon fiber exterior accent package, which has added this carbon fiber rear deck lid spoiler here. You can also see down here on the bumper, you've got 4 parking sensors. I did not mention those when we were up at the front of the vehicle, but this Q60, when it has the driver assistance package, adds 4 parking sensors in the rear, which you can see here, and it also adds 4 parking sensors in the front as well. Now, other than these parking sensors in the rear, just simply translating to give you a beep when you're getting close to an object, it is also equipped with what's called backup collision intervention, which is a part of that driver assistance package. So if you're backing up faster than no faster than 5 miles an hour, the Q60 will actually bring itself to a complete stop. So if something is already behind you, or something jumps out behind you when you're pulling out of a parking space or something like that, the Q60 will stop itself. I also do notice that you do have your dual exhaust, which is standard on all of the Q60s, whether it's the 4-cylinder, the 300 horsepower, or we are currently talking about the Red Sport 400 here. And I'm also going to talk about how the exhaust works when we're inside the vehicle, but unlike some of our other competitors, specifically BMW and Mercedes, you'll find that to hear the exhaust, it's actually an artificial sound which is created and given to you through the speakers on the inside of the vehicle. The Q60 does not do that. So the exhaust you hear and the engine noise that you hear is actually the car itself. It's not an artificial sound just to give you a better experience. It's real when you're inside the vehicle. So I'm going to pop the trunk here so everyone can take a look. In terms of the Q60 and in terms of trunk space in a coupe, this is actually pretty significant. This does also come standard with a rear folding back seat, so you can take a look that I've already folded that down. So if you do need the additional space, the back seat will fold down to give you the space that you need for what have you. This one here does also have your grocery net. So to prevent anything from rolling around, watermelons or anything like that, you're good to go. So you do also have your rubber trunk mat in here, which is also going to help keep everything neat and tidy in there to prevent any sort of stains or anything like that. So now we're going to go to the inside of the car. Okay, so here we are outside now, and I wanted to come outside so you guys can take a better look of the Q60 out in its element, more or less. This one here, though, as you can see, is no longer the dynamic sunstone red, which is specific to the Red Sport 400. This one here is the majestic white, not the pure white. There's a difference between the two. Now, what I've also seen floating around on the internet is that the Red Sport 400 does not actually come in any sort of a red interior at all, and I wanted to debunk that because, as you can see, this has your what's called Monaco red interior, which is specific only to the Q60. You will not find this in any of our other cars, Q50 or the like. So as you can see, your seats are red, the door trim is red. This does also have what's called the silver optic fiber interior accent trim, which I think is pretty cool. It flows really well and gels with the interior of the vehicle in terms of the black on the dashboard and a lot of the other features of the inside of the Q60. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hop inside, and we're also going to take it for a drive as well. I'm going to talk about the direct adaptive steering and also the power of the Q60 as well. All right, so now that we're on the inside of the Q60 here, I'm going to talk about the button placement, what everything does, and how all of these options and features work and how everything comes together. So on the steering wheel here, you don't have a whole lot of buttons. Infiniti wanted to keep everything simple, keep everything ergonomic, so that way you're not getting lost trying to change the volume and operate the Bluetooth and whatnot, so that way your eyes are staying on the road and not on the steering wheel trying to figure out where everything is. So on the left here, you have your volume control. These two buttons here are mostly designed for the Bluetooth operation, but this button here is your talk button. So this will actually allow you to speak to the car, to make a phone call. You can set up an address that way instead of manually putting it in through the touch screens. Your cruise control operation is right here, and these two buttons here are actually going to cycle through this screen up top here in between your dials. So as you can see right now, the car is telling us that we're going to run out of fuel in 81 miles. It's going to give you your average fuel economy, and you can just cycle through this whole setup here. If you've looked at the Q50 before, you'll notice that the majority of what is in the Q60 has carried over from the Q50. And the reason why we did that is because we wanted to keep everything simple for the consumer, so that way when someone is looking at a Q60 and looking at a Q50, they don't have to relearn where all of the buttons are and what everything does. So we wanted to keep everything simple, keep it easy to use, easy to operate. So you do also have, as I mentioned in the very beginning, you have automatic headlights with automatic fog lights. Those are up here. Automatic windshield wipers are over here. And if you take a look at the steering wheel, you do also have your paddle shifters attached to the steering wheel here. There are some folks that have asked, why are we not doing a manual transmission with this vehicle? But you will notice that not only are we not, but the majority of our competitors are also not using manual transmissions either. The reason why is because your automatic transmissions can shift faster than a manual, and they are also more fuel efficient than a manual transmission as well. But what we did was we gave you the paddle shifters, and we also gave you the ability to shift up or down on the gear lever here, so that will allow you to do that as well. You also take a look here, you've got your dual touch screens. Infiniti gave us the dual touch screens because they wanted to keep everything ergonomic and keep everything flowing in the Q60, and also, as I said, in the Q50 as well. So there's not a whole lot of physical buttons, but the buttons that are touched, the options and the buttons that are touched the most are actual physical buttons. So you've got all of your air conditioning controls on both sides here. So you have your driver's side temperature is here, your passenger side temperature is over here, because all of our vehicles do have dual zone climate control, so that way everybody's comfortable. You have your navigation up top here. Even if you go with the Q60 that does not have navigation, both of these touch screens are here. And everything is a simple touch. Everything moves quickly, everything operates quickly. You're not sitting and waiting for screens to load, so you can punch in house numbers, and everything's just a simple touch, and it's very quick and it's very easy and very user friendly.